Looking at the Markets with David Modell. Welcome to Looking at the Markets with David Modell. Today I've got a very special guest. She's not just any options expert. Oh no, she's Miss Put Options. And I'm speaking with somebody. I've conversed with her on Twitter and StockTwits, and she's put up some amazing charts, and people love to look at her charts and learn so much. We're just going to call her Miss Put Options because that's what she is to me. So Miss Put Options, thank you for joining me today on Looking at the Markets.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, no, it's really a pleasure to have you. It took a while, but we finally got you on there. I can't wait to post this video and tell people about your wisdom in writing puts. I love options. I mean, I always say once you go to options, stocks just seem so old-fashioned. Do you hold that view? I mean, did you start with stocks and go into options like most people did?
I went into options first, and then I wound up doing stocks. That's
Really?
how I wound up doing it.
Wow, that's the opposite of the way most people do it. Do you actually recommend that? Because some people would say stocks are an easier entry point.
I would recommend it with the options. And the only reason why my name, and I must correct this, is Misput Options, is because my little niece created that name for me. So right now, I would love to change it, but right now, I don't think that would be a nice thing to do for my niece. So I'm just going to keep it as Misput Options. People always ask me, how did I get that name? My little niece created that name for me. So it has nothing to do with me always interested in puts or anything like that. It's
Right.
just a name that my little niece made up.
Absolutely. And when it comes to but it's such a cool name though, and I want to thank your niece for coming up with that. That's so cool.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
and so when it comes to things like options, I mean, how should people start? A lot of people say, "Oh, just start by, with a buy right. For example, buy 100 shares of stock and then write a covered call because it's supposedly such a safe strategy." Or some people would say, "Just start by buying a call, going long calls or long puts." I think that just buying premium is a low probability way to go. What do you think is a good starting point for people interested in options?
Well, first of all, if you're interested in options, I would say start by paper trading.
Yeah.
Don't do anything with any real money. To tell you the truth, I have never in my life written a covered call myself. Um, um, so I would say always stick with the paper money first. Whatever you do, stick with paper money. Don't do any real money. I don't care who you're following, who told you to do whatever. Just stick with paper money for a long, long time, for a couple of years until you get the gist of what you're doing.
Couple of years, wow. People
Yes.
start. Wow, yeah. I don't blame you for saying that, though. I kind of wish I had followed your advice way back when.
Right.
And,
Right.
some people say you're not a real trader until you blow up an account or two. I tend to disagree with that because if people would just paper trade like you're saying to do right now for 2 years at least, maybe they wouldn't have to blow up an account or two. Would you agree with that?
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, yeah. So that's such great advice.
Mm.
As far as getting into options, okay. So covered calls, not so much. And so, are you more on the purchasing or on the selling side of options mostly?
I'm basically a day trader at this point.
Hmm. Hmm.
So I'm all about the calls and the puts and getting in real quick. And of course, I have to put a lot of capital in order to receive a nice gain. So that's where I'm at this point.
Yeah.
And so to be able to do that, number one, you have to have capital, and number two, you have to learn how to read a chart.
Yeah.
And I've taken a couple of classes, and nobody ever really shows you how to read a chart. They talk about a couple of moving day averages and tell you about earnings and this, that, and the other, but nobody really goes into detail about how to really read a chart. So until you understand that concept, until you understand about the supply and demand, support and resistance, I would not even put any real money into placing any kind of trade. So right now, I would consider myself more or less a day trader.
Yeah. And that there are such huge advantages to being a day trader. For example, you're not susceptible to the 50% drawdowns that seem to happen once every, I don't know, 8 or 10 years. When you look at the SPY chart, the S&P 500, which went down 50% in the year 2001, and then again in the year 2008. if you're a day trader and you're respecting those stop losses, your account's not going to drop by 50%. You're going to get out before all that nonsense happens.
Right, right.
Yeah, yeah. So I assume you're hedging with stop losses, correct?
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
And how do you establish your stop losses? Do you have a rule? Do you have a number?
Uh, I well, I say I would not like to lose any more than maybe 5 or 10% of the money that I invested.
Hmm.
That's the way I do it.
Yeah. It,
That's how I create my stop loss.
right. That's
Um,
great. That's
uh,
great.
yeah, I try not to lose a whole lot of money. I try to keep that to a bare minimum.
Yeah.
But normally, when I place a trade, I'm pretty confident that it's going to go the way that it does. And if you follow me on Stock Tweets, you will see that I have a high percentile of being correct.
Yes, you do.
I'm wrong sometimes. I am very wrong sometimes, but I have a very high percentile of being correct.
Yeah, I've noticed that, and that's why you have so many. Yeah, you've got what 14,000 followers on there and counting. So
Yeah,
that's
I got quite a bit of followers. Yes. Uh
yeah,
huh.
yeah, and I think that's
Yeah,
fantastic.
so do you. So do you.
Well, no, I mean, I just talk a lot of trash. That's probably why I get so many followers. You actually put quality out there, so that's the difference
Okay.
between you and me. But
Okay.
yeah, now I've noticed you've got a lot of recent postings on SVXY, the inverse volatility ETF. Now,
Right. Right.
I've spoken with people who have actually done very well with, betting against volatility. Every time it spikes, people will bet that it'll like let's say the VIX every time it goes up to 15, it always seems to come back down. Is that how you trade SVXY, or how do you trade it exactly?
To tell you the truth, and I just kind of look at the chart. I look at the chart. Number one, I look at the volume, the amount of shares being traded. That's number one. That's what I always look at, and I like for that to at least to be 1 million.
Hmm.
And sometimes I notice when it's not 1 million, you're going to have difficulty getting out of that trade. So I like to it at least has to be 1 million for me to even think about getting in the trade. But sometimes I do get a little antsy, and I see that it's going to go where I plan on it going, and I'll go ahead and place the trade that way. But a lot of people just get into trades and they say, "Hey, why isn't this moving?" Well, it's not moving because there's not a whole lot of other traders interested in it. That's why it's not moving. And that was like a hard thing for me to understand for a long time. And I do like to trade Priceline, but as you know, Priceline is very pricey.
Yes. Yeah.
And I'm more of a at the money trader. And if you know anything about Priceline, at the money can be very pricey.
Yeah.
So you really have to know how to read a chart in order to trade Priceline.
Sure. I've noticed that, and if you don't mind, maybe I'll put a couple of charts. I'll superimpose a couple charts on this video that you've made. I love these charts. I notice you like to put boxes around things, rectangles. Is that support and resistance? Is it a Darvis box? What are we looking at with those boxes?
Well, it depends on what you would bring up. I don't have like a particular format that I follow. I try to post up a chart where people will understand what they're looking at without asking me a whole bunch of questions. And another thing I would like to say in my defense, a lot of people say, "Well, hey, you posted this, but this was like a couple of seconds later." Well, Stock Tweets is not up to date to the minute format.
Correct.
And then you have to think I have to create the chart in order to post it. And a lot of people get upset about that I posted things a little bit too late, but there's nothing I can do about
There's
that.
nothing you
You
can
know, I
do
have to
about that.
create the
Yeah.
chart. And as you well know, you have to create stuff and then you have to post it in seconds. Maybe a minute has gone by and then people are upset.
Yeah.
So I noticed
Yeah.
that a lot.
I've
Yeah,
experienced that myself. Yeah, it's not real time, and when you're a day trader, seconds count, minutes count,
exactly.
and it's amazing.
Exactly.
You're providing free content, free ideas to people, and they complain. It's unbelievable to me. Yeah.
Right.
Most people
Right.
don't, but
Exactly.
yeah, most people are
Exactly.
really cool. Most people are really cool. So I'm not going to put down the people on StockTwits for sure. I like StockTwits a lot. I'm on there a
Oh, I
lot.
do love it. I
Yeah.
do. I do love it, but sometimes they have a little glitch in there where things are even more delayed than what they should be. But
Right.
that's because it's a lot of people on the server at that time. There's nothing you can do about that.
Sure, and I certainly don't blame Stock Twits for that. Um,
Exactly.
so now, why did you pick? The ones that you. I'm looking through your postings right now. Yes, you have a lot of SVXY. You got a lot of Priceline. I see some Tesla. I see NSC. Why did you choose these? Perhaps for their liquidity or the volume. Why did you? Why these particular
Probably because of
underlines?
the volume and the liquidity.
Okay,
I will tell you about the two worst trades that I've ever had
sure.
as a day trader, and that was dealing with Tesla, and then I also did the IPO with Alibaba, which I could shoot myself for even getting into that. But if I would have held on to it and not been impatient, I probably would be a lot more richer than what I am today. But I had never done an IPO before. I've been trading for approximately 10 years and I'd never done an IPO before. And Alibaba is my last IPO. However, I do like to trade Alibaba as well. I like to
Sure.
trade Apple.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's funny when Snapchat, the IPO came out, and everybody made such a big to do about it. I told people, getting into IPOs, not, it's a risky thing. It's not
right,
something that I personally recommend. Um, I mean, look what happened to Groupon. Look what happened to GoPro over time. I mean, look what happened to
right, right.
Fitbit. I mean, the list goes on and on. And now Snapchat looks like you can add that to the list of stocks that have gone down since their IPO. And I think there are a lot of people who got their first trade with or the first IPO experience. They got the Robinhood app. They were all maybe they're in their 20s, nothing wrong with that. And they got into Snapchat, got a little too excited about it, and they're getting a harsh lesson. in
Exactly, exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. But I will say that I love watching those gaps. If traders would look at those gaps,
Hmm.
that would save you a lot of time and effort in losing money if you pay attention to gaps on all time frames. I
Sure.
love the gaps.
Sure.
What about you? How are your feelings regarding gaps?
Yeah. No, I love a gap. There's an interesting theory, and I've heard both sides of the argument, is that all gaps get filled. All gaps get filled
Right.
eventually. On the other hand,
Eventually, yeah.
eventually, on the other hand, I look at the SPY chart as the S&P 500, and for that gap to get for the Trump trade, upward gap, the downside gap to be filled, it would have to go down so much now. There would have to be a
Right.
catastrophe. So if all gaps really do get filled, does that apply to the market overall? Will the whole Trump trade, the whole since the November election, that whole up move, will that be reversed at some time? Again, at this point, it would take an absolute calamity in the markets. Could happen. Some of the people I've
Right.
interviewed have said, "Oh yeah, it's all going to come crashing down. Buy gold, buy silver, whatever." That's cool. That's an awesome perspective. I believe in diversifying with some precious metals as well. Now, I just wanted to get in something. I'm going to go off script a little bit if you don't mind. Bitcoin. Are you excited
Sure.
about Bitcoin? Do you care about it?
Not very big on Bitcoin either. I really don't know a whole lot about it to even say one way or another.
Yeah.
I'm not into Bitcoin to tell you the truth.
It's
Yeah. What are your views on that?
yeah. I actually put out a video. Because people email me all the time about, should I buy Bitcoin? It's gone up thousands of percentage points. Should I buy it? And I told, right when it was around 3,000, I told people, I'm not doing it. Anything that goes up that fast, and you've
Something
got,
must be wrong.
yeah, well, if Kramer's coming out saying that's going to go to $1 million, if Pitbull came out, the entertainer, the rap guy or whatever, he came out, he's on CNBC telling everybody to buy Bitcoin. By then it's probably too late. The hype is probably priced in, I think.
Exactly.
And
Exactly.
yeah, and so I told people, I'm not telling you what to do, and this video we're doing right now, this is not a recommendation to buy or sell anything. I'm not a registered investment advisor. You have to make your own decisions, of course. But having
And
said,
neither am I.
yep,
I like to add, neither am
yep,
I.
yep, go
My
ahead.
advice is my advice.
There you go.
Take it or leave it.
Take it or leave it. There you go.
Yeah.
Have to say it. Have to put the disclaimer. But I told people, I said, I'm not telling you what to do, but I'm not buying Bitcoin right now. And after that, it went down to from 3,000 to 2,500. I also at the top of the marijuana stock. At the peak there, right before the election, I told people,
Right.
I'm not buying and holding marijuana stocks right now. Wait till it comes down. Of course, people didn't want to listen to me. They bought anyway, and now it's just gone down since then. And so if 90% of retail traders are wrong because they fail, if there's a trade that's obvious, it's probably wrong. Would you agree with that overall?
I totally agree with that. I totally agree with that.
Yeah, yeah. And
Yeah.
I think Snapchat falls into that category. Alibaba at first, now it's probably okay. But, and you're trading it the right way anyway. You're getting in and getting out. You're not getting greedy.
No,
Yeah, yeah.
no.
How do you set your profit targets? We talked about stop loss, but what if it goes right? When do you get out?
Well, if I feel like it's going right, I'm not a greedy trader. I'm okay with a couple of $100. If I see it's going right, I might let it go even further. But like I said, I'm retired military, so I already have steady income coming in,
Yeah,
and I'm not greedy. I'd like to get a couple of $100, and then I'm satisfied for the day.
yeah,
Have a whole lot of debt and a whole lot of things that I'm responsible for. So I'm sure somebody who has a lot of debt and things of that nature, they would be a little more greedy. But I'm like getting in, getting out, and sometimes, like I told you, David, I'm kind of sick. I had a serious slip and fall, and I've been
right.
on the injured list. So you will see me more on the internet the last couple of weeks than you'll ever see me because I get in and get out, and I'm off of there. You can't spend your whole life trading.
Right.
There's other things to do in life than doing that. So if you see me more this week on there, it's because I'm pretty much in the house the majority of the time.
Yeah, yeah.
So I slipped and fell and hurt my right leg and can barely drive and get around. So
Oh, wow.
all I have to do is trade all day,
Well,
trade all day and
yeah.
wait for home health. That's all I can do at this point.
Well, I'm
So,
sorry. I'm sorry you're going through that. But I'm sure you'll pull
yeah,
through just
yeah.
fine. And
Yeah, but
yeah,
if traders just get in, get out, and don't spend the whole day and you don't get too greedy. When you start getting greedy, that's when you lose a whole lot of money.
yeah,
And
yeah,
so I think we've all been there, done that. So like I said, Tesla, Alibaba, both of those turned out to be serious nightmares for me. And just when I see the when I see the ticker symbol, I kind of get kind of scared even looking at the ticker symbol. So yeah,
um,
you can't be greedy. Get in, get out, and call it a day.
yeah, yeah. Now, if people want to get in touch with your wisdom, with your insight and what you have to offer, which is a lot, obviously must follow you on Stock Twits first of all, MS
Well,
put options, miss put options. Just type it into the search box.
uh,
They'll find you easily enough. Where else can they find you?
I do have a website, but this is not about promoting my website today. So if you
Okay.
want to contact me, you can contact me at missputoptions@gmail.com. I used to also be on Twitter, and I also was on Facebook, but that took up way too much of my time.
Mm,
So, but the best avenue to reach me would be on Stock Tweets. And when you contact me, if you want to send me an email, just go ahead and ask me to add you, and that's never a problem.
yeah. And people should be following you at the very least. I mean, you're putting that free content out there. You're putting out free charts. Again, not telling people what to do, what to buy, or what to sell. But
Exactly.
yeah, but you're putting what you might be doing. You're putting your ideas.
Exactly.
What comes into your head, and you're putting effort into these charts. I mean, I see support, I see resistance, I see the volume on there, I see so much, and little comments on there. It's so cool, and
Right.
I can't imagine why people wouldn't at least check out your free content and then contact you either through StockTwits or through your email address, which if that's okay with you, I might put in the link in the
Sure.
description.
Sure, please do.
Okay.
Please do. But I want them to know that when they contact me, by no way or no means am I going to be telling you when to get in, when to
Right.
get out. That's not what I'm here for. I want you to be able to, I'm not here to handicap anybody
Right.
because, like I said, I just recently had a slip and fall. If I slip and fell and you're relying on me and I
Ah,
really hurt myself, hey, if I die, your money is dead too. So try to learn it. Try to learn it yourself.
So true, so
Yeah.
true. This is a
Mhm.
message that people need to hear. And finally, as far as we're going to look at the big picture, if you don't mind, just for a moment, just
Sure.
again, the market seems a little toppy to me. Just overall, it seems a little frothy. It may be, I'm not going to get political, but it may be based on expectations that just haven't happened so far since November.
Yeah,
Um,
you're probably correct. You're probably correct on that. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Again, that's not a political statement. It's just these things haven't. People expected certain things since November, and it seems like they may not be happening, at least not yet. And yet, the market is up so much since then. Is this sustainable? Should we be bracing for something catastrophic happening? What do you think?
Well, I would say don't put all your eggs in one basket. That's why when I trade, I get in and out. If I don't get out within that day, I'm pretty nervous the next day. I'm not knowing where things are going to go because I plan on things going one way and they went another.
Right.
So if I've been doing this for years and a newbie comes in, and I'm sure they're not going to get any sleep. I'm not here to lose any money, and I mean none. I don't want to lose none. I don't want to get in a trade. I don't want to break even. I'm all about trying to gain as much as I can.
Hmm.
But people they fail to understand that even a 10-cent move can be it could be a beautiful thing. If you have enough capital to invest.
Yeah.
So people say, "Wow, you only got 10 cent, but you don't know how much I invested in order to get that 10 cent." So um, I just want traders to try. Don't rely on other people.
Yeah.
Don't rely on other people when you trade because this is your money. Unless you're independently wealthy or something of that nature, and you can afford to lose a couple of $100,000, then sure, listen to other people if that's what you want to do. But that has never been my plan when I first started trading.
And that's what made you who you are today. That's why you're so successful at it. And
Thank you.
yeah, no, it's really great. I mean, again, you're the accuracy of your calls. Nobody's expecting perfection, but you're right a lot more than you're wrong, and that really is the key to success in this game, which is a dangerous game, a tough game to win, but you're doing it day
Thank you.
after day, day after week. And also, let me say thank you for your military service.
Thank you so much.
Yeah,
Thank you.
that's really appreciated. We're all going to be watching for you. We're all rooting for you to heal and get better. And but you
Thank
know
you.
what? We're benefiting from it because you're on the computer more now, and we're and I want you to heal fast, but I'm enjoying the charts you're putting out, so I'm torn.
Okay, I see where you're going. Okay,
I'm torn. Maybe
okay.
maybe I'm just selfish then.
Hey, at least you're honest.
Yes.
Okay, at least you're honest. That's funny.
Miss put
So,
options.
but
Thank you so much once again. Do you want to share your email address for everybody? This is your opportunity if you want to.
sure. My email address is missputoptions@gmail.com.
Okay.
And that's probably one of the best ways to contact me, or you can reach me on stock tweets and you can send me a message and say, hey, follow me if you want to send me a direct what do you call it,
Yeah,
David? I'm at a
message
loss
or
for words.
whatever. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, you can send me a direct,
yeah.
tweet or whatever off of there. I prefer that if you send me, you want me to send you a direct tweet. If you want to get into more detail, that we respond more on email because I have no problem with responding on email, like if
Yeah.
I have the time, of course.
Right.
But if you're thinking I'm going to sit up here and say get in at this point or get in at that point, that's not me.
Yeah.
I'm all about, hey, I'm going to show you how to learn the way I did. Give you little tidbits, but you're going to have to do the homework yourself. I can't
Yep.
I can't do it all.
I wish more people would hear that for sure. Don't rely on me or you or anybody.
Right, because I've
Yeah,
done it. I've done it myself. I've done
yeah,
it myself, and I'm like, oh my God, he or she told me to get in at this point, and now look at me.
that's right.
And a lot of those people are, big ballers. They're playing with large quantities of money, and when you don't have the type of money they do,
Hmm.
when they're losing, they're like, oh well. But when
Right.
you're losing, it's like, oh my God, it's you're ready to cry.
Right.
So yeah, you got to learn those charts, and like I said, supply, demand, support, resistance. You got to throw some Fibonacci in there to really understand trading, or you're not going to be good at it.
Words
And
of
that's just what it
wisdom.
is in a nutshell.
Yep. A lot of
Right,
people.
right. And people say, "Oh, it's going to take me too long. It's going to take me 2 years." But if you really think about it, whether you learn it or not, 2 years are going to go by regardless. Hopefully,
Yes. Yeah.
2 years are going to go by regardless.
Yep. And you can make that
So
learning curve
paper trade.
paper trade. Make the learning curve a little less painful. And
Right.
yeah, make it easier for yourself financially and emotionally. It's
Exactly.
misput options. It's been a pleasure. I want people to contact you, and I want people to respect what you're doing and learn from it. I really appreciate it. You're welcome back anytime. Thank you so much for joining me today on.
Thank you, David. And I am
Yeah.
so flattered. This is like my second interview, which you were the first one who contacted me.
Ah,
This is my second interview, and I am beyond flattered that anybody would even be interested. So thank you, David. I greatly appreciate it. To the bottom of my heart, I appreciate you contacting me. And finally, we got this interview after how many months? It's like
ah,
six,
wow.
7 months.
Yeah, well worth it. Thank you so
7
much.
months.
You're welcome back
Thank,
anytime.
thank you so much.
Thank you for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see you next time.